Good afternoon, everyone. I'm afraid I can't speak as fast as your American colleagues. So I just simply say thank you all. I would like to follow Chinese old saying, mountains and rivers are texts, while texts are mountains and rivers. These words indicate Eastern thought that all human knowledges and achievements were inspired by nature, and nature exists everywhere in human life. Deeply rooted in nature, landscape architecture deals with human-nature interaction. Today, not every country provides landscape architecture as a field of study, and not every language has a word meaning landscape. However, every nation has a view of nature dating back to ancient times, each with unique beliefs, wisdom, knowledge, and emotions inspired by nature, with resulting ideas in landscape that are familiar to people. Australian indigenous people, American Indians are telling such rich stories. It is based on this connection that today, the discipline of landscape architecture bridges all of us to the following basic understandings from past to future. First, landscape is a representation of a view of nature. It's a cultural product. Landscape reveals human values of nature based on deep-seated philosophical core of human-nature relationship. Although we have only one objective nature, the view of nature varies by culture. Different cultural and ethnic groups share their understandings of the wisdom of nature through their own cultural filters, which drives us to innovate in living environment. Chinese traditional view of being oneness with nature was deeply underpinned by Confucianism and Taoism. And North Americans' wilderness and national parks, of course, were powered by Kant, Emerson, and Thoreau. This, in turn, landscape reflects the global cultural diversity. Second, landscape is a treasured heritage of combined work of humans and nature. Landscape embraces the wisdom of living with nature, creates worldly ideals. Variety of landscape express long and intimate relationship between peoples and their natural environment, reflect specific techniques of land use and guarantee and sustain biocultural diversity, and embody powerful beliefs and artistic and traditional customs of the communities. Chinese rice terrace here sought to fuse minorities anti-earthquake village buildings, European vineyard, ancient city of Siberia on rooftop in Sri Lanka, Chinese gardens, Buddhism mountains, all these landscapes. We see wisdoms in landscape all over the world and their manifestation of human legacy. Third, the meaning of landscape is socially constructed. Landscape has layering of meanings associated with social objective construction. The construction process itself and the cultural input process, which has great social relevance to beliefs, knowledge, and the use of nature of the others and the communities. Landscape is a social container and space to reflect the deep social values, relationships, emotions, and also memories. The land and the people on the land should be ethically, culturally, and socially respected. So what's happening now? And what happened in the past years? Currently, the above core values of landscape face unexpected threats, especially because of intensified globalization and rapid urbanization. A healthy and vivid human nature living entity is being broken into fragments. Environmental degradation, increasing social conflicts, and the loss of local identity and historical context become significant concerns for future. Landscape is such a complicated complex, so landscape architecture should play a role to advocate a historical, holistic, and inclusive methodology and approach today, and thereby lead the way to future. So here I raise 6 key issues for your concerns. First, review a new philosophical relationship between humans and nature with a sense of urgency. Because of such kind of unexpected threats, then now we have to provide or rethink our philosophical foundation. Human-nature relationship has reached such a critical point. Environmental philosophy and ethics must be applied to landscape architecture framework. Only in this way can our attitude toward nature be fundamentally changed. I believe science and technology cannot save us from the root. Second, focus on contested landscape and create social equity in landscape. The reorganization of social spaces and population migration, accompanied by globalization and urbanization, are in sense the redistribution of natural resource and land resource. Today, too many new landscapes are powered by and serving for capital. The new immigrants lost their traditional home space, but didn't get new space. We must consider the land, the people, and their rights. Landscape architects should undertake more social responsibility to ensure new landscape becomes traditional inheritance and sustainable development, recognizing social welfare and justice instead of political and capital privilege. The third, reinforce understanding and sustain landscape as a cultural habitat. Each land is not empty as we see. It has its own stories and history. We should read and understand the landscape in front of our eyes before acting. So, involving local community, recognizing and respecting their cultural customs, using both innovative and traditional practices can provide more effective management and governance, contributing to their resilience and adaptability, and enhancing local identity. Landscape, of course, is not only individual innovation. The fourth, enhance understanding of intrinsic natural values and the respect for nature. Nature speaks its own language, and normally we don't listen or we don't understand. Strengthening interdisciplinary scientific work in landscape, enhancing our knowledge for nature, taking concrete actions in urban and rural development to conserve and interpret natural values is key to maintaining harmony between humans and nature. This task for landscape is a fundamental win-win strategy for future. The fifth, protect and manage landscape heritage. A bright future can only be assured by knowing the past. The treasured landscape legacies provide great engine for future cultural, social, environmental, and economic development. Also, we must ensure we remember where we come from and can recognize the way home, even while we move into future. 6, develop concrete strategies and tools for development for sustainable landscape planning and design. there is an urgent demand in landscape architecture education and training to provide solid multidisciplinary knowledge and solution. Concrete planning and design strategies, approaches, tools that can integrate economic, social, cultural, and environmental processes inclusively for sustainable development is urgently required. So, dear friends, our objective is not only to live intelligently and healthily, but also to live on the earth spiritually and politically, together with all other forms of life. This is an ambitious task for future landscape architecture and for all of us. Thank you.